Good morning. Such a pleasant morning. I don't have to wear a jacket. Really put me in a good mood too. Whenever I went to the store, I went ahead and did my shopping, and no, I did not go to Walmart. I think I'm just going to boycott that store. It's as pricey for the crappy bioengineered garbage, same garbage. That I don't eat. So, go where I have more options. Right? To the little store. Where the shit's more healthier. And about the same price, right? Walmart's on the verge of outpricing very expensive companies. Thanks. Anywho. My picky kitties are as picky as I am, yes? And that's okay. You like what you like, because you know the difference. I got 2 new incense. That's why I was smelling them, right? One I thought was like, oh, this kind of smells like toilet bowl cleaner. But it doesn't whenever it's burning. So it's all good. Yeah. You know what brand I hope, like, I'm almost scared to, like, say it right, because, no, I'm just kidding. I don't know how you pronounce it. Badia brand for, like, spices and stuff. They've got a great selection, yeah? And they are not price gouging the hell out of you, right? Fuck McCormick. Who even uses that garbage, right? I'm talking about spices because we were talking about the Middle East earlier, right? And one thing that the store did that I didn't like, right? They got rid of the Middle Eastern food, right? The Middle Eastern food section. They don't have it anymore. So now all it is Asian food, like specialty-wise. Asian food, Indian food, I get it. There's like a population or whatever, but, and of course, a huge Latino section. But why did you take out the Middle Eastern food, right? Like, I love a good falafel. I do. And they had the best falafel, like, mix where I didn't have to, like, go through the process with the chickpeas and blah, 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 blah. I don't really care for Indian food. I just like I like the Madra lentils, and that's it. I don't care for anything else I've tried. I just don't like it, right? But I love their culture. I just don't care for the food. I'm wearing like a curry color shirt, right? I do have curry in there. But yeah, they took that out, and the best hummus that you'll ever eat in your life is not that garbage that they sell in the refrigerated section. It's actually in a can with Arabic writing on it. Can't buy that anymore. Bet I can find it at Kroger, though. Anyways, I was just looking through the spices and stuff, right? Tried to mix up my, like, whatever a little bit, and, well, I bought cinnamon sticks to burn, right? Essential. And I picked up some. I'm not. I have to tell you the story first. Okay, read this. Okay. So I have a friend. He's from Palestine, and we work together in Savannah. And his mom would send us spices from the country, right? So he would just bring me like Ziploc bags of spices from the Middle East. And one day, I don't know what I was doing. I was over in the, and I know what they make. You know, I know what these are like primarily used for. It's primarily used for like oxtail and whatnot. And this lady comes in and she's looking for this, but she says she has a list and she's like, I'm looking for star of anus. I died. I died. I died. I died. Okay. I said, hold on just a second. I walked away and and Ash looked at me and he was like, star of anise? Because I was like, do we have any star of anus? Oh shit. So now every time I see star of anise, I'm just going to think star of anus. Yeah. Anywho, little funny story for the morning, yeah? I was talking to the little lady that was like checking out my groceries or whatever and having a nice chat with her. The gentleman was so kind and she broke her bracelet. I felt so bad, right? Like I make things, I make jewelry and stuff, and it just broke. And I don't know, like I'm half tempted to like make a bracelet for her and bring it to her, you know? I was kind of observing the guy behind me, right? Like people just watching how human or non-human he wanted to be, right? Like everyone's always in a hurry. Yeah. Like the art of and the joy of like humanity. I don't know. It's just it's missing. Missing. Right. This is a little old lady that just broke her bracelet. It's all over the floor. It's all over the conveyor belt because it was like little beads, and the elderly man is like trying to help her, and I'm down there like trying to reach what I can from my side, you know, to help her. And I could feel the teetering of impatience. Yeah. It's like, calm the fuck down. Right. Anywho. Which leads me to this. Now, you know, I had this in my cart before that situation, yes? I'm a huge advocate of surrounding yourself with only things that uplift you, right? Because I'm going to tell you, there was a house. I'll try to be vague. Uh, someone had a cup, and it had every horrible word that you could call yourself or someone else on it, okay? Dumb, like, just terrible, terrible stuff, right? And I'm just so always conscious and aware, right? There is a sweet angel in this house, yeah. And so when I would go down, right, because I'm always like the first person to like get up or whatever to like make my coffee or whatnot, if that cup was right in your face when you open the cabinet, I would take that cup and I would stick it all the way in the back and I would hide it from first view. No one wants to see that whenever they wake up. No one wants to hear that whenever they wake up. Okay? No one wants to hear, see nasty, vile things when they first get up. Okay? No one should be having those things, like, because it's a subconscious thing. Like, your subconscious absorbs that, and it also speaks volumes about your mindset, basically, right? It's, you know, we can drink from poison cups, or we can drink from healthy cups, yeah. That is my logic behind that, right? This was something that I did often. I did because I thought, what is this angel doing with this vile piece of shit? Right? You fit the description of all the things on the cup, and nobody else needs to see that, right? Right? You don't need to poison the well. Right? It's degrading, right? Why has degradation become normalized? What is that, right? It smells like licorice. It smells like black licorice. It smells like sambuca. I wonder if I could, like, save the seeds. All right. Messy run on the timeline. Oh, it's a mixture, isn't it? Yeah, it's a mixture, all right. A mess. A messy mess. Shall we gossip? Not really gossip, but I don't know if I'm not quite sure what. I don't understand why the men in the building know that, like, our friend got a bikini wax, right? If there are any ladies watching this, It's an experience you're better left, like, just... Don't you be doing that to yourself. Don't you be doing that to yourself. This is going to sound awful. Let me regress for a minute. Don't you be doing that to yourself for no scrubs, okay? Like, that motherfucker better make like 12 figures, okay? If you're going to go do all that, okay? That's all I'm saying. Y'all be out here doing way too much for the damn... Too much. Too much. Very little, right? Like, I gotta hand it to the, you know, they'll never be happy, right? But they're not poor. Right. Right. Like, I didn't even get to blow dry my hair today, right? Because, oh, well, I don't have the luxury of someone cooking my, like, dinner for me or food for me. So that's one, like, thing of living by yourself, right? You gotta cook your own shit, clean your own shit, you know, blah, 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 blah. There is, appreciate your wives, right? Your girlfriends or your whoever's, right? Appreciate them. Or if the men do it, appreciate the men for doing it as well and for helping you with that, okay? Teamwork makes the dream work, okay? It does. And it takes stress off of everyone. You know, nature has this funny way, or time has a funny way of doing something very interesting. It will balance, right? And it will be imbalanced to teach you how to balance, right? So let's say, you know, maybe mom had a hard day with the kids or whatever, and dad's worked all day, right? And he comes home and, you know, but mom's like not really feeling good, but dad's got like that extra oomph in him, and he says, honey, like, I got this, you know, my cup is full, my cup is full, my cup floweth over. So where you are lacking in your cup, I can pour into your cup, and then we can be balanced, okay? And then say dad has a really long day at work, he's just super duper tired and blah, 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 and mom's cup is overflowing. So mom says, hey, I got this. Like, you do what you need to do to balance you out, to like bring your cup back up to full. And that's how that works, right? And generally it is one or the other. It hardly ever is both at the same time, okay? Like, nature does not work that way. Things that operate properly don't work that way, because it is there to test your teamwork, basically, right? A lot of people don't get this, and so people become resentful whenever one is carrying all of... One has a hole in their cup, you know? And it's never full. Ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody. Okay? It's better to be peaceful, live at home, come crush up some Star of Anus, and I'm never gonna get over it. It's so funny, right? I'm so immature. Oh, shit. Some Star of Anus and, you know, burn some cinnamon. Burn some fucking cinnamon, okay? Especially if you have problems like I got problems, okay? Right? I don't really call them problems. It's just... it comes with the territory, yeah? But I don't know. I try to, like, find what is the lesson, like, or, like, if this discussion is going on, like, what is the greater knowledge here? Like, what would be helpful to a person observing this, right? Like, what is the lesson behind it? I would recommend, instead of chewing gum, you get high chew, right? At least you could swallow it, right? It's my favorite Japanese candy, for sure. It's my favorite candy. Well, I don't know. Gushers is taking like, I don't know what the fuck it is. I am like addicted to Gushers at this point. I don't know why. I just like having them on the way to work. It's so weird. Like, I started eating them whenever I got sick, right? It was the only thing that tasted good. And I have not stopped since. It's like a drug. I know all of the Gusher suppliers in the area, okay? Right? They have the ones that I like. Terrible. It could be worse. It could be like maybe hitting the old crack pipe, the old opium pipe, whatever exists out there. I saw a man on like a short video that was somewhere. They have a honey that like that fucks you up with just a little bit of it. I was like, well, that's interesting. And the caption was, now we know why Winnie the Pooh went on so many adventures or some shit like that. I'm like, oh. Right? Why he was always after the honey hive. You know, it's a strange thing, like, because a lot of this exists in the world, right? I honestly just think it's that people are buying into an idea of happiness that feels forced for a lot of generations, right? Like, this is how we do things, and this is what you should do, what you should focus on, what you should pursue. And so there's like these rose-colored glasses, like, through the whole thing, yeah. And then it becomes difficult, right? Because anytime the flavor or the newness of something wears off, people get bored, right? They want something new. But like, I've already addressed this before, it's because you're not growing together, right? You start stressing, you become imbalanced, and you stop growing, right? And there's a lot of people out there that'll put on this facade like they're happy and this and that, and they got all this other shit like going on. And like I said, you can wrap shit in a beautiful box, but it's still shit when you open it up. So you gotta like really do the work. I went into work today. So our little like clicky remote thing, it has been just a pain in the fucking ass. I know, like, the whole time I've been there, right? And so I needed to change the battery in my key fob, but I didn't have time to like do it before I left the house. So I just threw the batteries in my pocketbook. Was going to do it at work. I got to work, and one of the lady that I was relieving, she was like, man, this thing is like not, blah, blah, blah. And I had problems with it the night before. And I was like, well, what kind of battery does it take? And she told me, and I said, I got those in my bag. And so I like pried it open, and she was like, oh, such and such, a guy that works with us, put that piece of paper, and there was like a piece of a cigarette box or some shit in there to keep the battery in. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, so I just put it back the way that it was, right? Well, I went in tonight, and she was like, with his little jigger rig, yeah, job. Went back in tonight and she was like, oh, this thing is like doing blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to take it apart and really look at it. So I took it apart, turned on the big light, and noticed that the metal piece on the positive end, there is like a tiny little hole for it to go into, and it wasn't in the hole, so it was just not holding it the way it was supposed to, right? And so I was able to get it back into this tiny little hole, and I threw the little piece of paper away. And do you know that because I actually fixed what was actually wrong with it, right? Because the buttons are like little bitty, like tiny knobs, right? There's like a little circuit board in there. So they're like these tiny little, not like so little, right? So whenever you add paper or height to that, where you push the plastic down, it's not gonna reach the damn button. So no wonder you gotta push the thing 30 fucking times, because he's got it a fucking enough of a space between it to where it's not making contact where it needs to make contact with the buttons now, right? Like you jigger-rigged one thing to fix one issue, but created another issue, right? And that's because you didn't open it up, take the time to look and see what is really the issue here, right? The mechanic, why is it not yada yada, right? You didn't deconstruct it to reconstruct it in the proper way. You just put a little band-aid on it and created a whole other big problem over here, yeah? And so I actually fixed the problem. And now the fucking thing works like a damn charm. Like a brand new. It's good, right? See? Like, everything's like that, yeah. Like, you can't. You can't just look at the surface issue, right? You gotta look at, like, how it's built. Is there something that is misaligned here? Is there something that's not, like, working? Right? Is there something that's supposed to go somewhere that is not there? Yada, 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 right? So, but people don't want to do that, right? They look for, it's not even a fix. Like, it doesn't even fix it, right? It's so complex, though. It's so complex, right? There's many reasons, many emotions, sometimes immaturity, sometimes, most time, lack of self-love and knowing oneself, right? Like that. I think that's where it mostly comes from. Right? Unhealed things. That's such a broad topic, and it's such a big issue. It's such a big issue, like, globally, right? It is. For many different reasons, many different variables, right? Kind of depends on, like, where you come from, what the beliefs are that are, like, pushed there. That's the truth, right? But everything can be fixed when you start with the self. That's the bottom line, period, right? What you should not ever do, okay? Because this will fucking suck your soul right out of you and drain your fucking life force faster than anything else. Never let a motherfucker gaslight you, and never, ever, ever, never, ever put more effort into fixing what someone else says your problem is, right? Without them ever listening to how their behavior is affecting you, okay? If it's not a two-way conversation, then you need to take the trash out. Okay? Because, yeah, that's not going to get you anywhere. I promise, no matter how many fucking hoops you jump through, no matter how much fucking self-work, because you know what's going to happen, you're going to self-work yourself, self-realize yourself into a whole other fucking, like, vibration, right? Until you're just standing or sitting standing in front of a fucking joke. And there is nothing else left to do but tell him to get the fuck out, right? That's it could go one or two ways, right? Like, that's how it, yeah, right? Like, damn, I've done so much, like, self-work and you haven't changed at all, and now we're just on completely different fucking planets, dude. Like, get the fuck out. You're dumb, right? Like, what the fuck have I been doing all this time? Wasting my time. Right? So, that can happen. Yeah. Or you completely lose yourself and become depressed, and it'll probably be phases, right? Like, it'll eat up your self-esteem, your self-worth, and you'll probably lose all of your joy and your hobbies and completely lose who you are temporarily, right? And then you'll find or redefine yourself. So we should always look for the higher perspective, right? We can try to patch up houses built on sand, but eventually you're just gonna have to let the fucking sand suck it in the ground, yeah? You are. Facts. Especially whenever it's just completely damaging, right? Right? If someone is just being the most vile, whatever, don't tolerate it anymore. Then necessary, right? And that's the problem that, like, abused people encounter, yeah, is that their tolerance for that sort of behavior is normalized, right? They're abused probably many years, especially whenever they're young or if they're young. And so whenever they grow up, they find this familiarity in it, right? It's almost like you're, like, comfortable with chaos. But because something may not be as severe as what you've experienced, you may think, oh, well, that's not a problem, right? But it's a very big fucking problem. It's a very big problem, and it will wear over you over the long term. It will wear you out emotionally, physically. It will drain you. You'll be sick all the time. Like, yeah. Yeah. So, the shit that they, like, normalize on TV and all this other shit, that's not good. It's not good, right? Because it's all good and fine and dandy whenever you're just observing it. It is not fine and dandy when you are an unwilling participant in it, yeah? Right? That's why it's important to, like, dig deep and heal. Facts. So you just don't even allow those types of, like, vibrations into your space, especially in flesh form, you know? Facts. But anyways, there's my little morning chat of wisdom and immaturity and all things mixed and messy and awesome and whatnot. The birds are singing. It's going to be a beautiful, warm day turn off the heater in the house. Yeah. And we will see what ruckus the world has for us this evening. And, you know, on my community line, you're more than welcome to like just pick out something that you may think like resonates with you, but it is a whole thing, right? It's a whole experience. If you watch it, you read it, right? If you listen to it, it's like a whole, it's like good, it's a good broadcast, yeah. So, information, that's the thing, like I've already said, right? You gotta work through, you gotta work through the mess to get the gold, right? You gotta work through the mess to get the gold. You gotta, to get to the good stuff, right? Because it's just a constant series of tests, spiritual tests, honestly. I have a mild headache going on. I had one whenever I got up. Not sure what that's about, but it's getting a little chilly. I need to get a warm jacket. Chilly in the shade. But yeah, that's that.